This is the lecture video for section 5.6. This is video 2. Now we're going to using the half-angle identities we talked about from previous one to find the exact values for the trig values. So first we're going to quickly review those identities. So we have 5 identities. The first one is cosine of a over 2 equal to positive or negative square root of 1 plus cosine of a over 2. Second one is sine of a over 2 equal to positive or negative square root of 1 minus cosine of a over 2. The next 3 are the same for tangent of a over 2. So tangent of a over 2 can equal to square root of positive or negative square root of 1 minus cosine of a over 1 plus cosine of a, or sine of a over 1 plus cosine of a, or 1 minus cosine of a over sine of a. Out of those 3, the first one is the least used. So we normally don't use the first one. We normally prefer to use either sine of a over 1 plus cosine of a or 1 minus cosine of a over sine of a for the tangent of a over 2. So we have 2 examples today. The first one is I want to find the exact value of sine of 22.5 degree using the half angle identity. Since we're talking about sine of 22.5, so that means we're going to use the sine of a over 2 equal to positive or negative square root of 1 minus cosine of a over 2. Okay, so first, 22.5 is in quadrant 1. That means sine of 22.5 degree equals to the positive versions of square root of 1 minus cosine of a over 2. Okay, so I will need it for next slide. I need something before it. And second, since I'm using the half angle formulas, 22.5 will equal to the a plus 2. So I'm going to replace the a over 2 with 22.5. That means a will equal to 22.5 times 2, which is 45 degree. Okay, so with everything, I'm going to actually apply the formulas. Sine of a over 22.5 will equal to the positive version of square root of 1 minus cosine of a, 45, over 2. Cosine of 45 is equal to square root 2 over 2 in quadrant 1, so it's also positive. 1 minus square root 2 over 2 will become to 2 minus square root 2 over 2 all over 2. Okay, so if you do not like the complex fractions, you can just changing the division bars, the latest division bar, to a dividing by 2. So end up with square root of 2 minus square root of 2 over 4. Divide by a fraction is the same as multiply as a reciprocal. So separating the radical sign, I got square root of 2 minus square root of 2 divided by square root of 4, which is equal to square root of 2 minus square root of 2 divided by 2. So that's the final answer. The next example, I want to find the exact value for tangent of 75 degree. Since we're talking about tangent half angles, we have 3 versions to choose from. As I mentioned before, the least one we're going to choose is the top one. So we're going to either choose the sine of a over 1 plus cosine of a, or 1 minus cosine of a over sine of a. So I'm still going to talking about a few things. First, since I'm not going to using the first formula, so I do not really need to thinking about the sine of 75, even though I do need to probably keep a note to check at the beginning, but I'm check at the end, but I'm not going to apply it in any of the steps. So tangent of 75 is going to be positive, because 75 is in quadrant 1. So that's a note. But my first step, my true first step I'm going to thinking about is 75 will be my a over 2. That means my a is going to be 150, 75 multiplied by 2. But 150 is in quadrant 2. So I need to thinking about my sign of sine cosine. So sine of 150, which is my a, will equals to positive. Oh, by the way, I need to talking about a equal to 150 in quadrant 2 without reference angle of 30. Okay, so sine of 150 will equals to sine of 30 positive, which is 1/2. Cosine of 150 will equal to negative cosine of 30, because in quadrant 2 cosine is negative, so negative square root 3 over 2. Okay, so once I have all the pieces kind of written down, prepared, ready for me, now I'm going to get into the formulas. So tangent of 75 degree, I'm going to use the second one, sine of a, which is sine of 150, divided by 1 plus cosine of a, cosine of 150. Sine of 150 is 1/2. Cosine of 150 is negative square root 3 over 2. So I do not like the division, the complex fraction, so I'm going to do 1/2 divided by 1 minus square root 3 over 2. We do need the parentheses. So 1/2 divided by 1 minus square root 3 over 2 becomes to 2 minus square root of 3. Divide by a fraction is the same as multiply by is reciprocal. So we end up with 1 over 2 minus square root of 3. We always need to rationalize the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 2 plus square root of 3 over 2 plus square root of 3, the conjugate. By multiplying them, the denominators will becomes to the 2 squares minus square root 3 square. The numerator will become 2 plus square root of 3. So 4 minus 3, 2 plus square root of 3 as the final answer. We got 2 plus square root of 3, tangent of 75 degree. And then it is positive, so that's correct.